More maudlin rubbish.
Wrong, Rainy.
Huh?
You mean a lot to us no matter how nasty you get.
Yeah, because that's what friends do. They stick it out and they risk their lives for each other.
You'd risk your lives for me? In a moonlit.
Moon Podcast Escalation!
Hello, everyone. My name is Jordan D. White.
My name is Chris Sims, and this is Sailor Business. It's the podcast where we sit down with a friend each and every week and watch an episode of the classic 1992 Sailor Moon anime, and we talk about why it is that we love it so much. And this is kind of it, everybody. This is the end of Sailor Moon R.
What?
Today we are going to be talking about Sailor Moon episode 88, the final battle between light and dark, pledge of love for the future. There's certainly not going to be another episode of Sailor Moon R after this one.
There's an episode and a half after this one. No, there's half an episode after this one.
There's an episode.
Kind of.
We'll get to it. But yeah, I am very excited, and I'm excited for a couple reasons. First of all, I'm excited because of our guest, who's one of my favorites. Favorite guests, favorite people, favorite podcasters. Kat Cool is back on the show. Kat, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Chris. Thank you, Jordan. Thanks for having me back.
Yay.
Second reason I'm excited is because the situation in which we are recording is a situation in which we have never recorded before, which is that for you, the listener, it has been only a week since you've heard our mellifluous voices floating into your ears. But for us, we have not talked to each other in, I think, 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, yes. And not only that, I haven't watched the episode since then. I'm kind of looking at my notes here going,
are you serious, what? Jordan?
No, I watched it back then, and I haven't watched it since.
Okay, I didn't watch it back then. I watched it today.
Yeah, I'm looking at my notes going, what does this mean? What?
I've done both because this is one of my favorite episodes of Sailor Moon.
Is it really?
Yes. Yes, easily.
Okay, we'll talk about it when we get here, but I will say right up front, the thought I had while watching this episode was that this episode's really, really good if you like Sailor Moon.
Yep.
By which I mean, if you are willing to accept the show and its premise and the logical conclusions to all of those premises and not ask too many questions, I think this episode is really great.
Fair points. Very fair points.
Well, I actually have one big problem with this episode, but we'll get to it. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay.
But generally, it's a good one.
No, I like this one, especially as going into this at the end of Sailor Moon R, which is a season that Jordan and I were both super stoked for and then continuously let down by.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it goes out on a really high note and a really solid episode that's really fun.
Yeah, then there's certainly not another episode after this one.
Then there's definitely not another episode. It ends here, and it's good, and then we're on to Sailor Moon S.
Well,
before we get to that, though, we've got a little bit of Sailor business to take care of.
Do we? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing we need to talk about is, of course, our monthly t-shirt club, which I think was extended a little bit because we had such a long gap between our last few episodes and this one. I think the Yakety Yak Cat shirt, the Yakety Yak Cat shirt is gone, right? What is our current shirt, Jordan?
It's currently, for us, recording this, Hell Yes Murad, but I believe the day that this comes out is the day it ends, or the day it's already gone.
Okay.
So I think as of right this second, if you're hearing this, there's a brand new shirt up.
I think there is a brand new shirt. I think it might be the Eating, Sleeping, Taking the Easy Way Out checklist shirt, which is very cool, which is one of Christina Murdaugh's designs. I know we have a couple of designs in the works. I think we're doing a Bob Floy soon.
We gotta do a Bob Floy. We still haven't gotten a great slogan for it.
Question, is Bob Floy the ice cream place?
Yes.
Bob Floy is the ice cream place that we're obsessed with and no one else cares about.
That's really cool.
No, so our listeners have been very receptive to the idea of a Bob Floyd t-shirt.
We've also got a future guest on the show is working on a pizza coffee shirt, which is very exciting. And along those same lines, I've gone ahead and booked guests. I think I've got guests up to episode 116, maybe 114. But we've got some new friends coming on. We've got some old friends coming back. Sailor Moon S is going to be off to a really, really great start. But if you're interested in the t-shirts, you can always go to sailorbusiness.teetoki.com. That's Teetoki. Christina Murdaugh is the fantastic artist who is handling our shirt business. And if you got the Yakety Yak Cat from Outer Space shirt, and you've been having some problems with it, check your email, because there was a problem with that first print run. So we are reprinting them, and we will send you the new shirt. I don't think there's any extra charge for that. Christina's handling all that, and we thank everybody who's bought a shirt, and Christina for putting in a ton of hard work on those.
Yes, it's very nice of her.
Other than that, geez, do we have any other Sailor business, or do we just need to talk about Sailor Moon developments in our lives? So that's a no, then. No Sailor Moon developments.
I can't think of any.
Well, Jordan, you just moved. Now, one of the first things I did when I moved was I made a Sailor Moon shelf.
Oh, no.
I do not have my action figures out, but I do have my moon stick, and I have an amazing sketch card of Usagi that I got from former guest of the show, Aaron Gladstone.
I haven't.
That's framed over there now.
I haven't gotten that fine detail yet of the decorating. Like, I haven't gotten to the knick-knack stage. I've been mostly too busy with bigger things so far. But actually, that did remind me that I was given a housewarming gift of another Sailor Moon cell, which is pretty amazing. Oh, yeah? Yes. I'll have to take a picture.
That seems like the kind of thing that's difficult to forget, Jordan.
Well, again, I haven't actually had the chance to frame it yet and put it up, but it was pretty awesome. It was pretty amazing.
So what cell is it? Is it a cell from an episode that we've already watched here on the show?
It's a close-up of Usagi's face. So I was looking at it going, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to tell what this is from. Like, it would be a really big coincidence to be able to go, oh, that was the expression. But it's adorable. It's wonderful.
Kat, do you have any Sailor Moon developments?
I was just going through all of my prints that I got from this past summer con season. And one that I'm going to need to get some sort of matting for to put up is by the Dice Goddess. That's a Chibiusa and a Saturn that are in like summer clothes. And Chibiusa has a parasol with bunny ears, and they are taking a selfie. And it is adorable.
Oh, that sounds good. That sounds very good. I had a really great Sailor business related encounter last weekend.
Oh.
Get into it.
I went up to the Chikara Pro Wrestling King of Trios tournament this last weekend.
Chikara's so cool.
Yeah, like I have actually been talking to your podcasting partner, James D'Amato, about it recently and trying to get him into it.
That sounds like an easy sell. Like the easiest sell. How is he not already very into it?
I know, right? Like, it's shocking. It's shocking. It's the most comic booky pro wrestling there is. And every year, if you're not familiar with it, this company called Chikara, they have a 3-night tournament called King of Trios. And the tournament is, it's teams of 3 wrestlers, 16 teams that compete in a tournament, and then at the end of it, you get to see that year's reigning King of Trios. This year's show was really, really amazing. It was really fantastic. I would say the best since 2012, which is the all-time best King of Trios. But one of the really, really cool things that happened, and Aiden actually noticed this before I did, somebody wore a Yakety Yak Cat from Outer Space shirt to the show.
Wow.
On, I think, on the second night. And so thank you for wearing that. I know you're out there listening. And when I walked up to him, I was like, "Hey, I'm Chris Sims. I'm that guy. I talk about the Yakety Yak Cat." And he was like, "Oh yeah, I know that you usually say that you come to this, so I wore it, thinking maybe I would see you." So that was like really super awesome. So thank you for wearing that and supporting the show, and also like making me feel really good when I was watching some pro wrestling this weekend. It was awesome.
That's
awesome.
really cool.
Yeah, I was pretty thrilled by it.
So I don't know anything about what that show you were talking about that you saw was, but the rest of it sounds really cool.
Well, I explained it in very simple terms, Jordan. I don't know how I could break it down for you anymore.
Nope, I didn't get it.
I was up in Easton, Pennsylvania, which is only like 135 miles from New York City. You should have driven down.
What actually,
really should have.
What town were you in?
Easton.
Easton? Oh, I thought you said Eastern. I'm sorry.
No, I was in Easton, Pennsylvania, right across the border from New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't sound like it would be that close to me, but I'm trying to see if it's any closer to where I actually am rather than the city.
Well, it's closer to you than I am when I'm in Durham.
Yeah, I don't know if the listeners know that we've never ever recorded this show in the same place.
Yeah, we have not seen each other since this show started, which is a little weird.
You're right. I haven't seen you in person since we first talked about X-Men 92 like 2 years ago.
Aww.
Yeah, you literally have not seen me in person since August of 2014.
Yeah. That's
Makes me sad. Yeah. I saw James like last night and I'm like, oh man, when can I see James again? It's been so long.
Yeah, but Kat, you two are friends.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
I'm kidding. Jordan's great.
Well, Chris, I did just say I'm going to have a Fast and the Furious marathon for my birthday, so you could always come up for that.
That's very tempting. But I wouldn't have a place to stay because I am allergic to cats.
Oh, right.
So I would have to find a hotel in New York, which is not fun.
Well, although I'm not in New York City, so it'd be a little better. But anyway.
That's true. So, with that in mind, now hang on. You just said you were going to have a Fast and Furious marathon, and we were talking about this off mic for a minute.
Right, yes.
Are you just going to straight marathon 7 movies?
Yeah. That's not a big deal. What's wrong with that?
I mean, it's 14 hours long.
Oh, I know. Listen, that's nothing. I did it for a couple of years ago. I did a 24-hour movie marathon. Like the only
what did you watch for 24 hours?
Oh, I've done multiple actually of these. The first of the 24-hour movie marathons I did for my birthday a couple years ago. It was completely unplanned. By which I mean what movies we watched was completely unplanned. The only rule was I had to start a movie within 5 minutes of a movie ending.
Oh, wow.
So I was able to like flip through Netflix and like see what interested me, but just was like, oh man, let's see what we put on. The second time was a 24-hour cult musical marathon. So obviously we watched like Rocky Horror, but we watched, Hedwig and Dr. Horrible and The Wall and Passing Strange. And
that sounds fun.
Yeah, lots of crazy stuff.
I'm glad that you think it sounds fun because that is like my personal concept of hell.
Yeah,
that is like a Hieronymus Bosch painting come to life for me.
Cool.
So 14 hours of Fast and Furious movies, that's nothing. That's nothing.
Now, did you stay awake for the whole 24 hours?
No, I couldn't do it.
So what you're saying is you lied to me and you did not actually have a 24-hour movie marathon?
The movies played and I only slept for like maybe an hour and a half. The first one I slept when we were watching Real Steel, which I had already seen but is awesome. And for the musicals, what did I sleep during for the musicals? That's a tough one. I can't remember. It wasn't The Wall because I remember waking up for The Wall and being like, oh yeah. Oh, well, something. I slept during something during the musicals, but not that much. It went on for 24 hours, and I was up for most of it.
So is this just now your birthday thing? Do you do this every year?
Yeah, well, it's something, I try to do something interesting like it. So like I said, last year we watched all 3 Atlas Shrugged movies, and they were horrific in both morality and quality.
You don't say. The best thing about those movies is that the free market decided they were failures.
And yet they made them anyway. And guess what, Chris? The company that owns the rights said, you know what? The purpose of making these movies was to get the ideas of the book across, and we don't feel like we did it, so we're going to do them again.
Okay. All right. You know what? I hope they have fun. I mean, I don't hope they have fun, but I hope they have fun.
Don't you think Sailor Moon would be an objectivist?
I think Sailor Moon is the opposite of an objectivist.
I'm joking.
TBQH. But on the subject of movies, I think this is something that we need to point out because I would like to hear some feedback from our fans on this. If you want to get in touch with us over Twitter, which is @SailorBusiness, or if you want to email us, which is sailorbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. We have been told that the entirety of the Sailor Moon R movie is up on YouTube, and it's the Deke version. So, with no news about when we're going to get official new versions of the movies, with, you know, whether we get them with the new voice cast, whether we just get them, you know, the newly subtitled versions from Viz, which I would love and support and purchase, I promise you, we are through Sailor Moon R now. So if we're going to watch the movies, it's either now or in like 3 years when we run out of episodes to watch. So I think I would like to hear from our fans, and I'd like to hear from you too, Jordan and Kat, if you have an opinion on this. Should we watch those movies on YouTube, or at least the Sailor Moon R movie, which is one that we have been told is available, and do our commentary track like we have been promising / threatening for a year?
YouTube commentary track.
We would do a podcast, and you could just listen to it while you watch the movie if you so desire.
I know. But we would be going like, okay, get ready to click play on YouTube, and now.
Or, and this is another suggestion, and this is the first time we've talked about it, so maybe this isn't where I should be throwing these out. On Movie Fighters, one of our Kickstarter goals for the second season of Movie Fighters was that we would do what was essentially a live episode where we basically had like an online conference call where only Matt and I could talk, and we watched the 2000 Shaft reboot starring Samuel L. Jackson, which was actually super, super fun. We took like questions live when it was a little slow, and people's commentary on our commentary. Oh. Maybe that is something else we could do. Maybe that's like, you know, we keep saying maybe we'll do a Patreon, but maybe we'll do a Patreon. That'll be a goal. Like, what do you guys think? Any thoughts?
The only tricky part to me is, as I don't know if the listeners know this or not, but when we record, we tend to rewatch the episodes as we go, subtitled, so that we can reacquaint ourselves with what's going on. If it's up on YouTube, there won't be subtitles probably, so we won't be able to do that.
That is true. We would have to find a workaround for that.
You don't think that there will be?
There aren't. I'm looking at it right now.
Version.
I'm actually looking at that right this second, and there are not subtitles.
Yeah.
But I mean, we didn't have subtitles on when we did Shaft either. So maybe it's just like, maybe we just
did you ever release it?
We just did it live. We just did it live for the Kickstarter backers.
Okay, that we could probably do. Yeah, I think if we couldn't release it if we could hear the audio in it, is what I was.
Oh well, no, like we wear headphones, Jordan. That's the thing. We would just talk into the microphone.
Yeah, you guys would be doing like riff tracks.
Oh, but it wouldn't record the audio as well. Okay, I guess I don't 100% understand how it works.
It would literally be like what we are doing right now.
Yeah, except we're not hearing anything else.
Bless you, Jordan. Oh, my strong opinion is that I want you guys to do this so bad. I really want to hear it. Whether it's just a riff tracks thing or if it's the live thing, I guarantee you James and I would be tuning into that. I want it. Give it to me. And
I just checked. There's actually also a short called Make Up Sailor Soldier that was before the movie in the original Japanese one, and that appears to be on YouTube as well.
Okay, so email us, get in touch with tweets, tell us if you agree with Kat, and if you have any suggestions on how we should do this or how we should deliver it to you, whether it should just be a bonus episode on the feed or what, then let us know, because I think that's the way we're going to have to watch the movies, because right now we have no information on when and if.
Yeah.
And you know what? We can always watch it again.
What? Whoa,
we can always just watch them again.
We're committed to over 200 episodes of this show, and you want to just throw in some more.
Jordan, it's so weird that you think you're going to want to not talk to me anymore after like 3 years.
Just not about Sailor Moon.
It's so weird that you think you're going to not want to talk about Sailor Moon in the future.
It's preposterous. I'll just be like...
I mean, look, our relationship is already very strained.
Oh, wow. Jeez. Chris has said some things this recording session.
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just sorry that I'm here making things extra awkward.
Yeah, she's sad she's here for our breakup.
Our moon power breakup.
Oh, God. Yes, of course. All right.
Speaking of strained relationships, why don't we go ahead and watch Sailor Moon episode 88?
Wow, did we really...
The final battle between light and dark.
I guess we've talked a lot before the episode, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't done Twitter questions on this one. Do you want to do like one or two, or is
All right, let's do a couple.
Okay, let's real quick couple.
Which 90s... Oh, this is from Oh Hi Catherine on Twitter. Which
Hi,
90s
Catherine.
jam does each scout listen to while getting ready in the morning?
Well, Sailor Moon is like obviously... Oh, okay. Sailor Moon's is Wannabe by the Spice Girls. Minako's is Baby One More Time. That is my suggestion.
Are those 90s? Those are 90s, right? Late 90s, right?
Yeah.
Dude, those are 90s.
Okay, look, yes. The 90s was a long period. When they said 90s jam, my immediate thoughts were like early 90s, like stuff, and then I was like, whoa, Spice Girls. But you're right. That's late 90s. That's fine.
Editor's note, 96 and 98 respectively.
Yeah, I feel like it's all Spice Girls. I mean, like, Mina's probably Spice Up Your Life.
I mean, I love the Spice Girls. We can talk Spice
Makoto's
Girls
is
all
definitely
day.
when two become one, right?
Yep.
Why? Why?
Because she's always thinking about the boy who broke her heart, Jordan.
Oh,
She wants the slow romantic one.
yeah. There's probably a better one for that.
Okay, then. What is it?
I'm gonna look at my Spice Girls collection and find out.
That's what I thought. Yeah, big talk. Big talk.
No, it's not too much, because too much is like I'm breaking up with you, so that's not right.
Do they have a song about math?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for
Oh, I
right
guess
now.
when two become one could be obvious.
Exactly. Bam. She's like, that is not logical.
It's a song about subtraction, Serena.
Oh, obviously Venus's is Mama, right? The one about how much she loves her mom. Oh, Viva Forever. That's the one that is for Makoto. Viva
Forever literally sounds like a song that would be on the Sailor Moon soundtrack.
Yeah, it certainly does. The only reason I might say that Sailor Moon's song should be Vogue is only because the song that she does have in the Deke soundtrack, the I Want to Be a Star, is a 100% ripoff of Vogue.
Good argument.
All right.
Well, that's
all right. All right, what's our next one?
Good question. Our next question is... Okay, I don't think this counts as a crossover question. Andy Smith wants to know, Pluto has to pull a Rip Hunter. Who from Japanese shows and comics does she recruit?
So this would be like she has to like a TV Rip Hunter. This is like a Legends of Tomorrow situation.
Yes, this is a Legends of Tomorrow situation. And who's the villain is the second part of the question. Yes. So
she can't pull out anybody important from the time stream, because that's the gag in Legends of Tomorrow is that that it's people that if they die in the future, the present won't miss them.
Okay.
So I like obviously Tuxedo Melvin.
No, well, that's super. That's like super lame. I would say like you go with like Ryoga, because like Ryoga he's not Ranma. Like he's not super important, but he's got some powers.
So wait, so you're this is all of anime?
Well, they say from Japanese shows / comics.
Okay, so okay, I gotcha. So we would get like Yamcha instead of Goku, right? Like you get like the shitty Goku.
But Yamcha's so like... God, Yamcha's so underpowered, though.
Well, you can't get Krillin. Krillin's too important.
They'll recruit Dan Hibiki.
Oh, I love Dan. Dan's my fave.
He'll train them up good.
I like that it's all that you're keeping kind of to the time period. That's a cool step.
Oh,
Yeah, that's pretty much most of the anime that I know. It's gonna be.
Biko?
Which wait is Biko strong though?
No,
Biko doesn't have any powers.
Biko is the one who is like a tech genius.
Oh, that's right. Biko has like the giant robot. Yeah, that's right. Welcome to Project Aiko business.
Oh, I want her to pull like Naga to be the Mars from Slayers. Did you guys?
Okay.
Did you guys do Slayers? No.
There was a time where I was into Slayers. There was a time. The one that I was like super into in the 90s, and if you're not familiar with it, please don't look it up and judge me, is Sorcerer Hunters. Was my jam.
I don't know it at all.
Yeah, not at all.
Oh, okay, good.
Is there like an unimportant Pokemon trainer that they can take?
Okay. Oh, here you go. In the opening of Pokemon, the anime, there's just some girl who shows up, and no one knows who she is.
Is it the one with like bluish purple hair? That one and the like orange
The one
skirt?
that Pikachu jumps through her legs.
Yeah.
At
Who
one
the
point.
heck is she?
Yeah, I think we don't know who she is because she is the casualty of
She got
this
Rip
Legends of
Hunter.
Tomorrow situation.
Yep, I believe it. That's a good one. And now, who's the villain?
Who would be a good villain?
And you can't say Dracula.
I mean, look, Dracula would be a great villain.
He's a fantastic villain.
I know, but that's always Chris's answer.
I mean, yeah, like, why would it not be, though? Like, you said it. Who's always the villain in stuff? It's Jedi. Jedi's the villain.
Pluto.
Sailor Pluto?
No. Oh, right. Sailor Pluto versus. No, I meant Pluto from Pluto and Astro Boy.
I just sent you a picture of Sorcerer Hunter, so please enjoy.
Oh, Chris.
Oh, my Lord. Now, Chris, why were you into this when you were a teenager? I don't understand.
You know, it had a very compelling story.
There's certainly a lot of nipples on this picture.
Well, there are certainly a lot of nipples. That is what can be said for it.
Here's one more. Here's one more bonus one. There you go.
Okay. Oh, my. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, bless you, Chris.
Oh,
I think that everyone in that anime is the villain from this show.
you know what? That's fair. That's very fair. That's a fair evaluation.
Now, you do understand that by sending us those pictures, you have guaranteed that the listeners are going to Google this now.
Yeah, I wish they wouldn't, though. I showed you because we're friends.
I won't tell anyone to Google it then.
Okay, good. Please don't.
All
So
right,
anyway.
let's go to the episode now.
Look, that late 90s manga explosion was a weird time for all of us, okay?
Sure. What's the? Oh, I'm getting confused. Oh, Love Hina. I was trying to think. What's the one with the? Well, what's the one with the boy where all the girls fall in love with him? I guess that's like everyone ever. But
I think we would have got to Love Hina, though.
yeah, probably pretty quickly.
Love Hina was the manga that made me quit reading manga for 10 years.
I remember.
Yes. I have a deep and abiding hatred for that book. Oh, maybe it's all those jerks that are the villains that need to be stopped.
That's not going to make
been here for,
people
3 hours?
not look up this anime. Chris, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, they know it's scandalous.
Yeah, look.
No, we get
You
it.
know
We
what?
get it.
Let's just talk about this episode, please.
All right. This episode, which won't have anything scandalous in it at all.
All right. Now, should I? It's been a long time for us, but for the listener, it's only been a week.
So you're asking if we need a recap? Is that what you're asking?
I'm asking if you specifically, Jordan, need a recap because you didn't watch the episode today.
Yeah, you know what? I better get a recap.
All right,
Where are we?
I feel like I could actually do this one in 5 seconds because it's
Believe you.
basically what has happened is that Chibiusa is Dark Lady / Wicked Lady, and she has helped Wise Man take over the Earth, and now there's a giant crystal that's going to destroy Tokyo. That's basically it. Because like Damon's dead, like all the Saphir's dead, Esmeralda's gone. Everybody's dead except for Wise Man and Dark Lady. That's really where we're at.
Right. And Wise Man is not Jedi, probably.
I feel like he is. I feel like he definitely is.
Well,
But Wise Man is not working for, like, Wise Man is actually working for a greater power, which is the Death Phantom.
Is he? Let's get into this.
Well, he says at one point, I am the Death Phantom.
Right. That's what I'm
He has
talking
previously
about.
said that he's working for Death Phantom.
Yes, he certainly has. I do not understand.
So when Wise Man is destroyed in the past episode, because he gets like blasted, right, and then he reforms. Does he reform as Death Phantom? Is that Death Phantom inhabiting the body that was Wise Man?
That's not confusing at all.
Oh, interesting question. Because, are we asking, or are we wildly...
I am asking. And I am also, like, trying to figure out why he refers to himself as Death Phantom in this episode.
Okay, no, I think he's just Death Phantom. I think he thinks of himself that way.
So he's Death Phantom, and in previous episodes, he was basically going around going, oh man, this is going to be a good podcast for Jordan, because Jordan is going to really, really say some funny things.
Yep, that's
No, that would be like you going, hey, it's me, Jordan, but I'm secretly working for Jordan.
I mean, I think
Chris thinks he's podcasting with Jordan, but he's actually podcasting with Death Phantom.
I think it's it's just because Death Phantom was a good name that people would trust, and Death Phantom's kind of suspicious as hell. But he needed it for personal reasons to know that in his heart he was a spooky death guy.
Wait. So I'm confused as to which name you're saying his parents gave him, whether it be Wise Man or Death Phantom on his birth certificate.
So you think that the Phantom and Phantom Lady had a kid and named him Death Phantom,
I think
and he goes like his nickname is Wise Man.
His name is George or something, or maybe Jedi. And then years down the road, he decided, okay, I'm going to start going by Wise Man because people will trust me one day and think I'm wise. And then, but actually, I'm going to be...
I am Lord Voldemort. This is an I am Lord Voldemort situation.
Yes, but many times over, this guy who picked up necromancy and started merging with a planet, a death planet.
Well, it's also a moon.
A death planet moon, yes. Nothing confusing about this fellow.
All right, let's start the episode.
All right, so Jordan, do you want me to guess what this one was called?
Oh, right. I forgot all about that. Yes, let me find out what it's called, and then you can guess. Well, you're never going to guess this one.
Okay, so I'm guessing it's not like just The Final Battle, which would be a good title.
You got it.
Was it really?
Yep. Final Battle. That is the name of the episode.
All right.
They worked hard on that.
That's the easiest that's ever been.
The end. One more time, you get to play that game.
Oh, right, because there's nothing after this.
Yep.
After that next episode, that's all there is for Sailor Moon in the dub, right?
In the original Deke dub. Then when they brought it back, they just used the regular names.
Really? So that's the Cloverway era.
Yeah.
So they use all the original titles. That's interesting.
All right.
All right.
So where does it begin, Chris?
We as far as I know, I guess we begin inside the Malefic Black Crystal, right? Which is the giant evil crystal that has taken over Tokyo, essentially.
Okay.
It is causing hot pink lightning to rain down on the city, which is actually pretty cool.
And the first line of the episode is...
You tell me, bro.
My name is Death Phantom.
Okay. See, I didn't remember that because I'm already with the cats. Because as all this lightning is coming down, we see the cats, Luna and Artemis, and they're like, oh, the power of the Black Crystal, we gotta rescue Chibiusa, like, oh, shit's going down. And then Artemis says, if the Dark Gate opens and allows the energy of the Dark Crystal to be fired from planet Nemesis, Earth will be destroyed. And then Luna says, and I don't know if this is in the original Japanese, but it's in the new dub, and I wrote it down because it's hilarious. Luna says, that means that this time we have to win. And I was like, okay, what about the other 87 times? Has it been, this one could go either way. I kind of thought this was a very crucial job the Sailor Scouts were doing.
Yeah, like you certainly would think so. But yeah, she does not say that in the Japanese subtitle version.
No,
she just
once
says,
again, the new Viz dub is proving to be an absolute treasure.
So, the cats are concerned. Why are they not with the...
Because
the girls
they
are
jumped.
inside.
Yeah, everyone's inside. The cats jumped last time, got hit by the barrier, and got a ton of bruises all over their bodies.
Right.
This is what happens when we take 3 weeks. Jordan, do you know who the blonde girl with the ponytails is? That's Sailor Moon.
Ponytails? Oh.
Excuse me, she with the meatballs. And the spaghetti's coming off the meatballs.
Yes, meatballs. I saw them and they looked like meatballs. I was like, yum.
Yes.
Right. So they're on top of like the center point of where the crystal is going to be. And the last thing we saw was Wicked Lady coming down and going like, hey, I'm going to kill you. So
yes,
back there, she's trying to kill them. She's zapping electricity and she's going, there's going to be a dark gate that's going to open. It's going to be great. Everyone's going to die.
She's like, oh, it's going to be great. It's tremendous. Some people are saying this is the best attack on Tokyo. And that's true.
So they're saying, and they say to her, hey, wait a minute. Don't you understand? You're going to die too. And she's like,
this was the second line of the episode that I wrote down.
Let's hear it.
I'd rather destroy everything than live in a world that refuses to love me. Same.
Yeah, it's very sad. No one loves her. A world like that should be blown up. She's right. And so they start saying to her, "You're not alone." And she's like, "What?"
Anytime that they say you aren't alone or you're loved, she seems super confused by that. That seems to be the thing that you aren't loved is the thing that Wise Man has been saying to her. Clearly, it's the thing that's got her real messed up and the reason that she is opening the Black Gate to destroy the whole world.
And so she decides, "I'm going to kill you." And then what happens is a thing I wrote down in my notes as Mamozap.
Yeah. Much like Dan Hibiki making his second appearance on this episode of the podcast, Chibi starts throwing around some hot pink energy. And Tuxedo Mask jumps in front of Usagi to save her. And this is a very weird exchange.
Where her being puzzled over him sacrificing himself?
Yeah, where she goes, "You'd sacrifice yourself for a stranger?"
Yeah, what?
and Usagi goes, "He's not a stranger. He is my boyfriend." Like, this needs to be explained at this juncture. Like, that's what she's concerned about.
That's right. He's a dear friend. And she's like, "What?" And then they go, "You're also our dear friend." Oh.
Yeah, I feel like there's a better way to say that, which is probably like, "You're our daughter from the future and he is your dad."
Yes, solid point. But to me, that's the like, oh, snap, now I understand that she really is being brainwashed, that like she doesn't even understand who these people really are right now. Because otherwise she'd understand that they have any connection to each other, and she doesn't even get that they're a unit, you know?
Yeah. She's not perceptive is the problem.
No,
I think,
definitely not. No, she's not. She's not at all. She's super into her own headspace and only cares about herself and the lack of love that she feels.
Right. Then,
yes.
So she starts to get confused by all of this, and her brain hurts, and she puts her hands on her head and all that.
And so everybody just says her name in sequence. So if you ever have a friend who's like really confused, just everybody stand in a semicircle and start saying their name, because that helps. That's not a weird nightmare situation that I've had.
Then Death Phantom / Wise Man, whatever you want to call him, starts doing his demotivation speeches that he does in this episode, which are all pretty excellent. Just things that need to be said. The truth lies in total darkness. So, receive its power. Stuff like that. He just keeps saying a lot of like real downer. Everything is like, he's goth man is what he is again. And she's goth lady. So it works out well. He
basically puts her in an anger shower.
Yeah. He shoots energy right onto her. And they're like, "No, don't let it fool you." And she's like, "Yeah, now I'm good again. I'm angry now."
He literally, not literally, but he basically tells her, "Hey, Chibiusa, don't trust anybody." And that made me feel like this show really missed out, like the new Viz dub, especially, when they didn't get Stone Cold Steve Austin to play Wise Man, which would have made this show way more amazing than it already is.
I don't get it.
Stone Cold Steve Austin was a professional wrestler, Jordan, and one of his catchphrases was DTA, don't trust anybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's very well known. You could probably have a birthday marathon of movies in which he has appeared.
I've actually heard of him. I just didn't get what the reference was, the connection. Good to know. So basically, she goes, "Guess what? Now I'm powerful. So here's some wind." And she throws wind at him again. And so Usagi and Memo stand there facing the wind, remembering pep talks that old man Memo-chan gave them in the future.
Yeah, that useless jabroni.
and like holding hands and being like, yes. And meanwhile, Chibi will fill the entire world with darkness, just so you know. And then Usagi's like, "I'm going to save you." And
so she pulls out the silver crystal and holds it up. And I really do, like, there's an effect, and it only lasts for a few seconds, but if you go frame by frame through it, it's really cool, of the silver crystal kind of like strobing, and the light's all like purple and green and blue. It's a really, really cool effect. So they repel the dark energy with the energy of the silver crystal. And Chibiusa, she starts to remember the good times.
This is true. Now I'm trying to figure out. We're gonna experience a bit of a mystery here. Oh no, I remember why exactly. Because I was gonna say my next note is what, and I'm like, why did I write that? And the answer is because of the part where they start using the silver crystal in whatever year it is, 1993 or whatever.
This would have been 93.
And somehow in the year 3000, that causes Queen Serenity, Neo Queen Serenity, to wake up.
The thing that it says in the show, the line of dialogue, is that Usagi has become Neo Queen Serenity. And I was confused by this too. Because I was not sure how that works.
Yeah.
But then, if Usagi can also become Sailor Moon, then I feel like another additional transformation isn't.
But why isn't that
beyond the show?
In the future?
Well, I think what happens is that the silver crystal being used like this, and maybe it's and Kat, you might have insight on this that I don't, but there's another silver crystal present. So maybe that creates a connection to the future, and Usagi's future self is able to inhabit her past body. That's not out of the question, given the nature of reincarnation in this show.
I'm not sure the second crystal has anything to do with it, but her becoming Neo Queen Serenity is a state. So, she is Neo Queen Serenity when she's Neo Queen Serenity.
As in, outside of time, the one absolute Neo Queen Serenity, and all Neo Queen Serenities are the same Neo Queen Serenity?
It's been a little while, but that doesn't feel wrong. No, but it is. It's kind of like the Avatar state.
That makes more sense. Because my question is...
Oh, you're talking about the Airbender. I was like, what?
Yeah, talking about Aang.
I thought we were talking about the blue people on planet Pandora. Go ahead.
No one is ever talking about the blue people on the planet Pandora, Jordan.
Good.
My question is, this raises up the question of how Usagi works as a supernatural force, like the Avatar. Because I don't think we're ever answered, at least in the show up to this point. And again, as listeners know, I've never seen past R. We're really close to getting into stuff that's going to be totally new to me. But was Princess Serenity Sailor Moon? Did Princess Serenity transform? Did she have, a Sailor Scout or Sailor Senshi uniform?
That's a great question. And
or
I don't know the answer.
Is Sailor Moon just an aspect of the power that is Princess Serenity, Sailor Moon, and Neo Queen Serenity that just exists inside the human body that is Usagi Tsukino?
I mean, as a previous version of myself watching this, the way I always thought of it was basically that essentially the queen and princess were grown-up versions of Sailor Moon. I
mean, it gets more complicated because, I guess, Chibi Moon spoilers. Chibi Moon's Sailor Moon.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yes, Chibi Moon is Sailor Moon. She takes over the job for her mom.
I don't like.
You sound so disappointed.
That's very disappointing.
Why?
Well, I know
because she can be Chibi Moon if she wants, but she can't be the Sailor Moon.
Disagree entirely. I think that it's Jordan, that it's that it makes a lot of sense to me as a legacy character, that she takes it on when Neo Queen Serenity is too taxing for Sailor Moon to do. It's a hard job, and it's a lot of Chibi Moon's problems as a character were because of her complex childhood and not having physical access to her mother and being denied a lot of physical love.
All of those are good reasons to not make her the guardian Sailor Moon, is what I'm saying.
We'll get there. We'll see in this episode a whole lot of stuff. Yeah.
Chris is so excited to talk. What do you need to say?
Does that mean that Princess Serenity wasn't Sailor Moon, but Queen Serenity was? Was Queen Serenity the Sailor Moon of the Silver Millennium?
Sailor Moon is Sailor Moon. So when she was
No. He means Usagi's mother in the past.
Yeah.
Not Usagi's mother, Serenity's mother. Serenity.
Yeah, so if she ever transformed into Sailor Moon, she was Sailor Moon.
Wait.
Now I have not.
Like
I've never seen
Shazam?
S. What'd you say, Jordan?
So now it's like Shazam, and like Sailor Moon is a separate person, and then other people can turn into Sailor Moon.
Kind of. I don't know how many people can, because only 2 people I've ever seen do it, who would be Usagi and Chibiusa.
But like when, okay, for example,
if it's an inherited power, that actually makes a lot of sense to me, because then it would be something like maybe not Shazam, but like Green Lantern or something.
But that's what I'm saying. Like Green Lantern or Batman or whatever. Like you can just say, you know what, Dick, now you're Batman, and nobody goes.
By the way, the name of the character is Dick. Jordan's not just angry.
Dick Grayson. You're Batman, and nobody has to go. It's always the same Batman.
Like, that was for the listeners, Kat. I know you know.
Okay, I was just like, oh my god, do you think so little of me, Chris? What is happening?
No, Kat, of course.
I'm gonna go cry.
But no, you know what it's like? Here's what I think it's like. I am so excited about this, because this is an aspect of Sailor Moon that I've literally never thought of. It's like, what's his name from The Authority, Jordan?
The Doctor.
The Doctor from The Authority, who is a separate individual, but has all the memories and experience of all of his predecessors. Okay. Just like if he bothers to access them. And obviously Usagi, when she becomes Sailor Moon, is not going to know how to access those powers. But that explains why she knows how to use all of her stuff instinctively. Like
or
all the
for a
weapons
different
and stuff.
geek reference, it's like, oh my god, what Dax from Deep Space Nine.
Which we were literally watching in the living room before I came to do this show.
Really? That's pretty
fun.
Yeah,
Aiden wanted to watch Deep Space Nine.
So yeah, like in the sense that there's like a part of her that is, but see, I don't know. I don't like it.
Wait, why would you not like that? I think that's really cool.
It's so good.
Because it makes it that Chibi is the equal of Usagi, and I don't like
she
that.
is, Jordan. She is.
But Chibi should be the equal of Usagi if Usagi is the equal of Queen Serenity. Like, that's how it should work, right? The one thing I don't get is Kat, when you were talking about being Sailor Moon being too taxing for Neo Queen Serenity. Because Neo Queen Serenity is, like, ridiculously powerful, right?
Yes. So I think that I think it's because they hadn't worked out that they could split the powers. I'm not quite, it's been a while since I've read the manga, and honestly, I'm not sure it all makes sense. But she had to, like, maintain the state of Neo Queen Serenity, and we know that takes a lot out of her. And I think it was because she was, like, keeping a protective bubble around the city or something because they were being attacked by people they weren't expecting. I don't quite remember, for an elongated period of time. And then Chibi just trying to help in one way or another started up this whole mess.
Well, yes, that's true. Well, I'll tell you.
I mean, that actually, listen, that makes Chibiusa make so much more sense to me. It really does, and it really kind of makes me like her as a character more.
That's what this episode is about, hopefully, is making you understand and maybe start on the road to liking her. She's my favorite character in all of Sailor Moon.
Well, I'll tell you. Can we skip ahead? Because I had a...
No, we can't skip ahead. No. Okay. But because I'm still talking about this. So... Fine, all of that aside, because that's all side parts of what we're actually talking about. It makes sense to me in a way that at the end of season 1, Sailor Moon is able to access and remember her past life and tap into, the powers of her past life and blah, 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 blah. Because it's a thing that happened in the past. The idea that in this season she's tapping into the future makes no sense. Because I'm like, wait, what? Like, all of a sudden she's her future self. All of a sudden, for no explanation that I can see, she has gained 3,000 years. Well, I'm sorry, 1,000 years of wisdom and power.
Wait, do you think she's doing that? So you think that she's... Oh, that's an interesting read. Because, Yeah, I guess she is. You're right. Because, like, I saw the memories being mostly Chibi Moon's, but you're right. She does, like, deliver the moral. So I guess she has all of the... It's got to be an avatar state thing, because she, like, seems to be connected up through all of the Queen Serenity things. And it's a big deal whenever she turns into Neo Queen Serenity. Like, it takes a lot out of her. Yeah. Which we'll see again later in the episode.
I know that in Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, because I know this because they've been talking about it on Love and Justice a lot in the episodes that I've been listening to. I know that Usagi does have a very Avatar state-like form called Princess Sailor Moon that is like kind of like uncontrollable and super powerful in a very similar way to the Avatar state. So I like if Sailor Moon and the Silver Crystal and the power that comes from Queen Serenity is this other thing that is both within them and kind of above them. Like, that makes a lot of things make a lot more sense to me. Like, it really does. But the reason that I wanted to skip ahead a little bit is because there's a part of this episode where I kind of feel like Chibiusa is a Yoma. But I guess we'll get to that in a minute because Jordan didn't want to talk about it yet.
No, I don't want to skip. I want to go through in order. I'm less into that. I'll be honest. I'm less into that. And that makes sense because, again, usually I'm less into the show when it gets all highfalutin. I want the characters to be the characters. I want Sailor Moon to be Usagi Tsukino, who is trying hard and...
Yeah, but this way makes that even better.
How?
Because it does make her separate from
that's
this
the part
grand destiny that she has.
I want her to be her grand destiny. I want it to be. I
mean, spoiler warning, Jordan. She's eventually going to become queen of Neo Tokyo.
No, I understand that, and if that means that Usagi is going to go through a lot and experience things and grow and change, that's interesting to me. If that means giving over to a supernatural entity that is already perfect and all powerful,
but it's not a supernatural entity. It's an energy. It's like giving a 14-year-old a car.
And and it is her. I mean, it's like, but it's like it's her family's thing. It's really only them. The women of her family have this thing throughout time. That's one of the things that I really love about Sailor Moon, is that it's always felt very much about one family's female legacy.
Yeah, and like Sailor Moon was, like, Usagi was never, a quote-unquote ordinary teenage girl. Like, she was always a reincarnated moon princess.
Right, but that's the thing. Like, the idea that... But, see, I know, it just feels very different to me. The difference between long ago, you were a different person and you had these different responsibilities and you did all these things, and now you feel like you're different, but like you're still part of that same thing, and you have to, like, that makes sense to me. And the idea of like, but there's also like this like other thing that is Sailor Moon, and that's that feels weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean. Again, it's like giving a 14-year-old a car. Like, if you just give them a car, they're going to be like a little messed up. Like, they're not going to quite know what to do with it. But they're going to grow and change, and eventually they'll be able to control that car without even thinking about it. Like, that's what I'm seeing it as. And the idea that it was passed down.
I can appreciate your metaphor, except for the fact that there's never a time when you give a 14-year-old a car and for a while the car takes control and they are perfect drivers. Like,
oh no, like sometimes you can take your hands off the steering wheel, and if your alignment's good, the car will just go straight down the road. Jordan?
Okay.
Look, the car thing isn't a perfect metaphor. The Avatar state was.
It's not everything works for Fast and Furious, Chris.
I disagree, Jordan.
All right, you know what? Let's get back to the episode, because what happens
Usagi's like Brian O'Connor.
No,
and
she's
Queen
not.
Serenity's like Dominic Dom Toretto.
Oh, God.
Who's Caleb Black?
I don't know. Naru. I guess Ami's kind of the ludicrous of the...
Cheesy peeps.
That's what we're doing for the rest of the podcast.
No, it's not, because I want to talk about Dark Lady before anything else happens with her, before we move on in any capacity.
Okay.
Yeah, just like while we still have Dark Lady around. One, how cool's her outfit? It's just the best, right? It's
Love
pretty
it.
cool.
Love it.
So it
One
wasn't
of the best designs in the show, hands down.
hard agree, but it almost wasn't a thing.
Hard agree. I've never heard that.
But it almost wasn't a thing. Naoko like originally was considering not calling her that, was considering calling her the Black Queen and just having her be like a little darkly dressed Chibiusa.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I agree. No, thank you. And then so that was the only other design, that she was considering. But then when she made the transition from manga to anime, Naoko really didn't like how extreme they made the slit in her legs, like on the skirt. She didn't like how sexualized everything is. And looking at her drawings, they were pretty sexualized to begin with. But for me growing up, I loved that about the character. That was like, it really, really resonated with me.
She's like a little kid who automatically is trying to be like super sexy.
Yeah, that she turned into this darkly sexual person. That was huge for me. And I didn't know why at the time, but I've had a lot of time to think about it. So do you guys know, I guess Coraline does this really well. The idea of the other mother in a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bruno Bettelheim was this guy who was a psychoanalyst who did a bunch of child psych stuff and said that the reason that we have the evil stepmother and a lot of evil queens in fairy tales is so that kids could get out a lot of their anger and frustrations with their moms without having to put that on the idea of their moms, so that they could separate it into the good mother and the evil mother, and work through a lot of their childhood problems that way. I don't even know that she intended it, but in giving me Chibiusa and Dark Lady, Naoko did that for me. She gave me like a way to break through, like to break down all of the bad stuff that I was doing in young adolescence and give it a form and like let me deal with a bunch of dark sexuality stuff and not heap it all on this thing that still had a kid's body. And that was huge. And I'm super thankful for it. Thank you, Naoko Takeuchi, for this. Like it was like, it meant a lot. I think it's really cool that it happened.
I'm sure you haven't heard this one yet, but when we talked about her originally, the episode where she turned into Dark Lady, I was saying that I would have liked it better if instead of magically just growing her from a child into an adult, if she actually went away and it's a time travel story and just like lived many years without them.
Oh, that's interesting. I like the magical separation because I need it to not all be on her yet.
I think like rather than pulling an Ilyana Rasputin situation, which is kind of what you're describing, Jordan. Mm-hmm. Like I do think what Kat's saying about Wicked Lady works really well, because I think in a lot of ways, I mean, it's basically what you said, but I think feel like Wicked Lady is a child's idea of what, you know, a badass looks like. You know, she's super tall, she's super beautiful. She, you know, her outfit is even like a photo negative of her mom's outfit. You know, it's black and has the high slit instead of being the, you know, relatively modest dress that Queen Serenity wears. And even, you know, even though it's got the straps on the top, like the parts that are uncovered on Queen Serenity's dress are mesh on her, so she's still like in a way kind of like armored up in terms of look. And I really think that Chibiusa functioning as a kid's idea of an adult appeals to me in the same way that something like Shazam does, where it's a kid's idea of what a grown-up can do. Because, you know, when you're a kid, the fantasy is like, oh, one day I'll turn into a grown-up and then I'll be able to do whatever I want. I'll have the power to do whatever I want. You never think about work and taxes. Sure. And I feel like Wicked Lady is that for Chibiusa, and I think the idea of feeding on like the resentment and the anger that she has towards her parents, which is something I really hadn't considered until Kat was talking about it, makes her work really, really well. Especially even in the context of what we're going to see in a few minutes with Queen Serenity, in a kind of very patronizing way, going like, well, there's a reason we didn't help you up. Like, yes. Black Lady clearly doesn't need anybody to help her up. Black Lady can get up. Black Lady doesn't have nightmares. Black Lady is a nightmare. And I think that's a really, really cool aspect of her character, of just kind of giving her this new body and this new idea of what adults are.
Let's talk about them telling her to get up.
Are we ready? Are we ready to go? Because we've spent a lot of time on this, like 5 seconds, because it's been really interesting.
Well, yeah, but I think there's still a lot of episode left.
Yeah, I think we're ready.
So so she turns into the queen, as you said. She's able to deflect all of the magic or the bad stuff, and then again, Wicked Lady is like, ow, my head, and she starts saying, yeah, wait. You guys were dickheads to me, remember? I fell down, and you guys were assholes. And they were like, yeah, you fell down, and we were like, get up, so that you would learn to get up. And then I wrote down, and we said it like assholes, so you would learn that there are assholes.
Well, more than anything, what this scene makes me think of is that scene from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where Indiana Jones is like really, really mad at his dad for being an uninvolved parent.
Right.
For like leaving him to his own devices. And Sean Connery, Henry Jones Sr., his response to that is just to yell, I taught you self-reliance, which is true. Yes. But that's a lot to put on this 900-year-old 5-year-old.
You've accepted it.
I have not accepted it.
I just heard it. So basically, they're saying, like, yeah, we did it all because we loved you. Like, that, it was all part of the plan. Like, it's all because you're a great little girl. And then Death Phantom, Wise Phantom Death Man goes, that is bullshit. Humans are born alone, and in the end, they die alone.
I have a question for you. Do you think maybe, because, like, the thing is, they didn't, in the flashback, they were dead silent, right? They didn't teach her the lesson back then at all. They just left her to figure it out on her own, and that's why she didn't. Like Indiana Jones. She just didn't
left her
get
face
it
down
all.
In the rain.
Yeah, all they said was, get up yourself.
But they didn't. They just looked at her and knelt down and then got back up. Nothing happened back then at all.
Well, that was, I think in the old one we saw them say it.
In the Japanese, no.
No. I mean, in the first time we saw it, like a couple episodes ago.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we did. Did we?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because I think weren't they like?
Because Memory says it like in a real dickish way. He's like,
that's what I was saying. Yeah,
get up. But there's definitely not the scene earlier where Serenity like kneels down and talks to her, though. That's not in the earlier scene.
And do you think the aspect of Neo Queen Serenity that we're seeing, because Jordan, like, if your big problem is that Usagi doesn't have any agency, do you think any aspect of her teaching the lesson now is being tempered by our current iteration of Usagi?
Well, I mean, again, I didn't really. That's a good question. I didn't really think of it as her not having, like, Usagi not being in command of things until we started having this conversation about Sailor Moon and the Queen being like other states that were not her. So, I mean, yeah, I on some level, I just sort of went, yeah, this is just her saying it. Although, if you have to explain the lesson, I don't know if it counts. I don't know.
I think this is all just Wiseman editing that part out of the memory, the same as he did with the birthday party.
Well, that's true.
Oh, that's a good point.
And that Queen Serenity is just going like, no. There was a second part of that story that you forgot about.
That makes sense.
So
I also like that Wiseman shows up and says, humans are really into being born alone and dying alone these days.
And then he literally edits the memory in that we see the flashback and he erases the parents from it entirely.
Oh, and then he also like adds in that Chibiusa didn't just fall down; she fell down a hole. Yes, she fell down a bottomless pit.
Yeah, he just keeps making it worse. And so Usagi and Mamoru again are like, that was that's fake. He's tricking you. And she's like, no way, I'm going to kill you. And she starts zapping them again. And at this point, this is getting towards what I don't like about this episode, which is at this point in my notes, I wrote this back and forth is kind of getting old, because I think it kind of is. Like, how many times are we going to just do this where they just go to her and go, we love you, everything's good. And she's like, oh, you're right, everything is good. And he goes, no, it's not. And she's like, oh, no, it's not. And the answer is,
it does happen a lot. Like, I do wish there was
frequently.
I do wish there was just one longer scene. Like Queen Serenity showing up should have been like the big moment. And then she just does like the one speech and then we move on. But instead we get, you're right, we get like another back and forth, and then we go into Chibiusa's memories. And what I wrote down was, hey, try not to remember that spanking. Because that definitely happened.
That's great. See, because now, okay, so wait, is this when they finally win? Are we at the part where they win yet?
Yes. Yeah, we're there now.
Okay, so, oh, right. Oh, and this is, okay, two things about this. So first of all, this is hilarious to me, because what actually happens is Chibi goes, all right, I'm just going to blast the shit out of them. And so she starts blasting the shit out of them with black lightning, which they brace themselves for, and they're like, ah! And then Usagi is like, I know I'm being blasted with black lightning, but I'm just going to give a speech. I'm going to make eye contact, lock eyes, give a very calm expression on my face, and just give you a little speech here. Where is the hurting and agony? Fine.
Worse than Usagi is, I don't know if you're looking at Mamoru in that scene, but he looks bored to tears. He's just like, oh, this again? More of the black lightning? Okay.
And so that was the second part of why I thought the back and forth was kind of lame, because so this time they win, and I just sort of felt like this is a lame thing where the good guys go, here's our approach. We're going to try X. It didn't work. Okay, guess what? We're going to do it again. It didn't work. Okay, guess what? We're going to do it again. Now it worked.
Oh,
well, wait.
Okay, but disagree, because this time it's showing that so R is not about Sailor Moon and the Sailor Scouts. R is about Chibi Moon. R is about
oh, good.
Yeah, it is. It's about it's about structural fantasy. Her having a problem in her normal life, going to a fantasy land, the past, and developing the skills that she needs there to come back to her normal life and live there and be a reasonable person. So this is showing like her progress here in the past and why those moments are the important ones for her to be able to beat her enemy, who is herself.
Now you're talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, you're talking about when Usagi says some things and then they flash to memories of all the episodes before. Like, here's her hanging out with Ray. Here's her hanging out with...
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. I know that it's lame, but it's what's important to Sailor Moon. And I really love Sailor Moon, you guys. And what's important in Sailor Moon is hanging out with your friends.
Totally. And that's not my problem. It's not, my problem isn't that what saves her is good memories of her friends. My problem is that's the same thing they used for the last 5 episodes and it didn't work. And then all of a sudden it works.
Sure, totally. It should have been cooler. They should have done it in an attack.
I want something to have changed between the previous failure 2 minutes ago and this victory.
That's
and
fair
I don't
criticism.
see what it is.
Yes,
yeah, it's never really. There's not, like, I would say that I don't buy up. There's not even anything to not buy, in that it's like, oh yeah, this is like the 3rd time that they've told her, no, Chibiusa, we're your friends. Remember how we used to hang out? And
3rd time this episode.
Yeah. But I do think, Kat, that you're really making me like R a lot more in retrospect than I did when I was getting through it.
Let's watch it again.
Well, no,
I'm sorry that I'm gaslighting you on R, because it's not good, Chris.
No, it's absolutely not. But I think what you're putting into words right now with stuff like how cool Wicked Lady is and how she works and what she represents, that's stuff that, like I said, I love Wicked Lady, but I don't think I could have put that into words the way you did. And I think my memories of liking R are an affection for that structure. But I think that structure is where the anime structure really works against the thematic structure. Because R is so all over the map and so long and has so many filler episodes. If we had like 10 solid Chibiusa episodes, I would love her and her story. And that's probably how it works in the manga, which I own but have not read. Right. Instead, we get like so much filler, and we get like, we get like 2 Minako spotlight episodes in this, and neither one's good. Right. Like, we get so much that's kind of doing what works really well in season 1, which is the filler episodes, which is the Monster of the Week, which is the small business plots. Like, all of that stuff is what makes season 1 work, and all of that stuff is what makes season 2 not work. Like, because it just takes up so much time, and it keeps these characters from progressing in the way that they should. Like, we don't really see Chibiusa develop in the way that we don't see, like when we were watching season 1, the way that we don't see Mars and Usagi, Rei and Usagi's relationship develop and change in the way that it does in the manga, from like, sniping to frenemies to friends. We just see like all these episodes where Rei's just being mean for no reason. Like, in this, we just see kind of Chibiusa locked in a state that is, quite frankly, super annoying. Yeah. And we don't really see her develop, like we don't see Chibiusa learn a lesson at the end of any of these episodes that we see in flashback. It's only here where it's implicit that there was learning going on that it all kind of comes together. And I think that's a flaw of everything that's led up to this. Not a flaw of this episode. I think the flaw of this episode is that, yes, the hey, we're actually your pals, like, has been said to her multiple times. And this time it's like, oh, my pals. Right. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying my owls. That was crazy.
I mean, basically, because the only difference is Wise Man doesn't call her back up and go, "They're lying, dude."
Yeah, did he run out? Did he run out of interrupts? So we go through that, and then we get, look, maybe it's me. I'm going to throw this out there. But the shot of Wicked Lady, Mamoru, and Serenity that we have, where they're all kind of floating, and Mamoru's between them, and Serenity and Wicked Lady are kind of clasping hands. That would be such a better shot without Mamoru. Because if you pause on it and actually look at it, he is standing kind of shoulder to shoulder with Serenity. But when it goes by in the 5 seconds or so that it's on screen, it just looks like Mamoru is like surrounded by his 2 nearly identical women. And it's a weirdly structured shot, I think. I wish he was not in the center. I wish the focus was just on Chibi and Usagi. I think that would make for a better connection. Because again, all that we've been talking about with like the matrilineal power that is Sailor Moon and all this stuff, like, Mamoru has nothing to do with any of this. Mamoru's barely there.
Yeah.
But I know that he's an important part of the story.
Yeah, and he is technically grouped with her, yeah, but you're right. That it's just he's unfortunately in the center of them to make the group shot work.
And I think it has a lot to do with, again, like going back to like the overt sexiness of Wicked Lady's design. I think maybe that is causing a little
I mean, I think they're doing that because that, meaning putting him in there, is because it's a weird family shot.
It's their family.
It is, and it makes sense for him to be there. I just think it's a bad shot. That's all.
Okay. Because then a moment later, like, they hug, and then she turns back into a little girl, and then you have them clustered
being a cute family. Mm-hmm.
As a cute family.
Right, yeah, there's a super cute family. There's this 14-year-old girl, her 905-year-old daughter, and her 46-year-old dad.
No.
In formal wear with a cape. Okay,
now let me just point out that now, an hour and a half into this podcast, we're halfway through the episode of the show.
But here's the eye catch. But I feel like we're learning so much.
Yeah, of course.
So this is why I like having you on the show, because, Kat, you know what's up.
Ah, shucks.
So we come back from the eye catch, and everything is good, right? No, except all they did was they saved Chibi. They didn't actually stop the bad guy yet. So first they're like, "Chibi, wake up. Are you okay?" Everybody's very sad. And then she wakes up and asks in the dub, the Deke dub anyway, if she can have some pancakes.
Great
Amazing.
callback. Genuinely great callback.
Yeah, that was actually pretty good. Oh, there was another Deke moment that earlier when they were talking about how much they loved her and how they would sacrifice for her. Wicked Lady says to Sailor Moon, "So you would sacrifice for me?" And Sailor Moon answers, "In a moon minute."
Oh, why is the Deke dub perfect and beautiful?
It's a pretty good one. What do you think is a moon minute?
Sailor Moon is hella tired from being her own future queen self for a little bit. So Death Phantom / Wise Man takes this opportunity to show up and be like, hey, guess what? I was totally spacing out. I should have just been like, oh no, they're actually not your friends. When Makoto gave you that box lunch, it was actually like full of poop and worms. It was real gross. But I was so sorry. I was totally spaced. Have some more pink lightning. And so he rains down some pink lightning on them. And everybody is mildly annoyed by it.
Yeah. Now is he still gonna open the Dark Gate?
Yeah, in fact, he shoots out some energy from the Malefic Black Crystal and turns the town black and white, turns it into Sin City.
Right. That's right, yep. And then Artemis says the Black Gate has opened.
Yes. Clearly something has to be done. So all of a sudden, the Silver Crystal starts creating a bubble, and then Sailor Moon kind of like stands up and has her eyes closed and is walking very zombie-ish, which really I think is getting us back to what is the Silver Crystal, what is Sailor Moon, what is Usagi even. But then her eyes open and she starts making a Hadoken out of Silver Crystal light, which again, if there's one problem I have with Sailor Moon, and there is,
let's hear it.
It's that they just get new superpowers sometimes.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, right, she's using the Silver Crystal to make a Hadoken. She can do that, you know? It's like, well, it would be nice if we knew that. At least now we know that Sailor Planet power is a thing.
Well, don't worry, Chris. Then they zap her with dark energy, and she turns into the queen again.
Yes.
Why did she even turn back?
Avatar state, bro.
I don't even really understand what that means. I'm assuming
Have you not watched Avatar: The Last Airbender?
I'm assuming that means that she's hooked up to a computer and she's really in a different body.
Jordan, no one is talking about that ever.
No, I did make it through Avatar: The Last Airbender.
The cartoon.
Make it.
Did you watch the cartoon?
No, I'm talking about the cartoon. I watched like maybe most of season 1, and I never finished it.
Wow. Huh.
I'm not that into cartoons.
What are you talking about? Okay, can I tell a quick side story here?
Sure.
Okay. Jordan, you will like this story. We'll get back to Sailor Moon in a minute.
In a moon
We were doing a
minute.
con. We were doing a con, and X-Men 92 was out. So the whole miniseries was out. I think the ongoing had maybe just started. And I don't think I told you this story, Jordan.
Okay.
But there was a guy who came up to our table. And if people out there listening to this aren't familiar with X-Men 92, it's the series that my writing partner and I, Chad Bowers, we co-write for Marvel, and Jordan's the editor. And the cover to number 2 is kind of sort of an homage to X-Men number 25 from actual like 1993. And it's Rogue and Gambit, and they're about to kiss. And so this guy walks over to the table and he goes, "Do Rogue and Gambit kiss in this one?" Exactly that tone of voice, exactly that accent.
All right.
And so I go, well, no, but they actually do kiss in this one. And I kind of point to number 4. And he goes, well, how's that work out for them? I'm like, yeah, well, you know, not too good, I guess. And so Chad starts like trying to explain the concept of the book. And he goes like, hey, so, you know, if you've ever seen the X-Men animated series from the 90s, it's like that cast of characters, like, you know, a lot of the villains that you would have seen on that. And the guy, like, literally throws the book back on the table, turns and walks away and goes, I don't like cartoons. And that's it. I know I've told that story on War Rocket Ajax, but I don't think I've told it here. But you just became that guy in my head, Jordan.
I was kind of joking. I'm doing a Sailor Moon podcast.
I know what you're doing.
Oh.
Watch Avatar. It's, like, really good. It's, like, really, really good.
I just wasn't that... Like, there were a couple characters I liked...
Do you know that many things have a first season that doesn't indicate the rest of the show?
Many things have a second season that don't.
Listen,
that's a little rough too.
That's what people told me about Babylon 5, and I was like, oh my God. And I fell asleep every episode I watched, and eventually I said, I'm not watching this anymore.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. Avatar The Last Airbender is vastly superior to Babylon 5.
Yeah, I believe you. Like,
Same
I
with
like
this podcast at gmail.com. Do not email me.
I liked the brother. I forget his name.
Sokka.
Yeah, he's cool. Obviously, I liked the big flying animal.
Okay, did you get to the part where Sokka fell in love with the moon?
It doesn't sound familiar.
Dude.
Okay, it's a really good episode.
Just watch this show.
Just watch the friggin' show, Jordan.
I don't know which show to watch now. Am I supposed to watch that or Steven Universe?
You can watch both.
Watch Steven Universe. Jordan. You're watching Sailor Moon. Watch Steven Universe.
Do you see what I have to deal with, Kat? You see what every week I have to deal with?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, God.
Now that I'm all incensed, let's talk about Sailor Moon.
Okay, so she starts, she turns into the queen again. She's generating a tiny little pellet of energy for some reason. I don't even know what's going on.
There's a moment of silence.
That's true, too.
And then
Chibiusa sheds a tear, which then becomes...
No. We are skipping out on a very important part. Then there is no longer a moment of silence.
Yes.
As the music swells hugely.
Oh,
right,
I see.
Right, this is where this starts, and it's awesome.
And it's awesome. There is massive guitar shredding.
Yes. What we get here is, in the Japanese version, we get La Soldier.
Okay.
Which is a seriously rad song.
Now, I don't remember it. I'll be honest. Even though I just...
well, it's rad AF.
I believe you. Because in my heart, all I know is that this is where you hear the Deke song, The Power of Love, which is obviously great.
Either way, you get a real rad song right at this moment. As I believe both characters, the Death Phantom and Neo Queen Serenity, reach above their heads really dramatically with a long shot.
Yeah.
She's got
really
her
actually
energy ball.
awesomely animated shots, too, on that.
And then they do the classic, let's just shoot energy at each other, and neither one can overpower the other.
Yep.
That is when Chibi sheds a tear. Because it's her fault that this is happening, you see.
Guess we finally have Chibiusa take responsibility for being a brat for the last however many episodes we've been doing
years.
this.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
No, for real, though, because she's been a real brat. That's when you guys asked if she was my unproblematic fave. It's like, well, she is, but she's not, because for a long time, she's a really difficult character to love. She doesn't take responsibility for her actions for, heck, however many episodes it's been. She comes in with what is a toy gun, but we don't know that, and she threatens Sailor Moon. That's the first thing that we ever get from her. She's a tough pill to swallow.
The tear is a callback, right? To the silver crystal being in Usagi's tears, too, right?
Yeah, that's just where we keep silver millennium crystals, is in people's tears.
This is where I was going to advance my theory that Chibiusa is actually a Yoma, because she has the silver crystal inside her that comes out. But she does talk about the crystal going into her body, right. which it shoots down that theory immediately.
No, we knew that. We've known that for a couple episodes, that she's had it hiding in her.
But she didn't know, did she?
Right. No.
She did not know. I had forgotten because it's been a long time since we've talked about this show. So Chibi also puts her hands above her head and then turns into Princess Usagi Small Lady Serenity.
Small lady.
But she's wearing a Chibi outfit of Queen Serenity.
Yes.
Chibi Queen Serenity cosplay.
So everybody shoots out their Sailor Star power.
Now, okay, let me talk about that really quick, because in my heart of hearts, and in actually every part of me, I believe that they are not helping at all, but they're like, we feel really useless.
They're using their power of shouting names.
Yes. I think 2 silver crystals is all that's really needed here. And they were just let's get it on this.
We see all the light going into the silver crystals that's all color-coded.
I'm not saying they're not doing something. I'm saying it's not necessary.
I mean, look, you are probably correct. I wish that the season ending... This I wish that the season ending thing, and I know, like, Kat, you are absolutely right. R is Rini's story. It's Sailor Moon Rini. That's why it's called Sailor Moon R.
That's not her name in Japan, so I don't
it's her story, and it's Usagi's story and the story of Usagi's family and Usagi and Mamoru together and their daughter. But I do wish the rest of the Sailor Scouts had something to do here at the end.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, because they have less to do here than when it's a one-on-one fight between Usagi and Queen Beryl. Like, you know, at least in that we get them showing up and like putting their hands on her shoulders and like they're all dead but they're still with her in spirit because their friendship is so strong. Here it's literally just like, yeah, I will also shout my name and maybe some colored light will happen. I want to see a love chain that's also on fire with electricity and also bubbles. I guess it would also have bubbles.
Yeah. If I recall, the comic is it's interesting that they didn't go with this here. I wonder what Chibi Moon's show first appearance is, because in the comic they're like fighting and they're all dying, and this is where Chibi Moon's first appearance is, because she has to turn into her to save everybody. Because she
instead of turning into like
small lady, like, yeah, she turns into Chibi Moon and does a pink sugar heart attack and everything, like fights.
See, that would be pretty cool to see. But I wonder if that's because this episode was in production well before that installment of the comic came out.
Oh, is that true?
Because lead time is... Well, I wonder if that's what it is. Because lead time on animation tends to be a lot more than lead time on comics.
Yeah, yeah.
But I thought that's why they did Alan and Anne.
Yeah, but I mean, that was 30 episodes ago.
That's true.
So...
Could be, but it could also be that they just, like, wanted the symmetry of the... Because, like, I like her small lady costume. That
it is a pretty cool visual to have them both in the designated princess dress.
And it might have been too complicated for the season for them to bother with doing the... Because, like, then she goes away and... But wait, who was that Chibi Moon? What the heck? You know?
I feel like it would have answered a lot of questions we had.
Fair. And I would have really liked if she'd shown up. Me, Kat, personally. Would have made me happy.
So,
speaking of personal cats...
Yes? What? Where are you going with this?
Luna and Artemis are watching all this from a rooftop. And after the powers of the 2 silver crystals destroy, wise men? Then they're, like, very happy about everything as the dawn breaks over Tokyo.
Right before the cats.
Okay.
Was there any sense to be made of the thing where it's like, hey, did we just die? No, there was a miracle. It's fine.
The thing I wrote down was the Usagi's line, which I think is in the dub and in the original Japanese, is, did we die? Oh, well. Because, I mean, she goes on to say, like, you know, at least we went out saving the world. But I think it's hilarious to go, are we dead? All right, whatever.
Yeah.
Very strange. So
I think they are dead? I think that is their transitional state back from being Neo Queen Serenity and Small Lady.
Right, right.
To being Chibiusa and Usagi.
Is dead?
No, is like in that like pink nothingness.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're dead. I think they're like in a transitional state.
I also have a question for when Luna and Artemis are watching the crystal disintegrate. How did the scouts get out of that?
Sailor Teleport, obviously. Their new power that they sometimes have and then sometimes don't have. And also sometimes they can fly.
Oh, okay. And they just take Tuxedo Mask along with, or is he stealthing back through everything?
Look, he got in.
Yeah.
He can get out.
Okay.
That's what I say.
So the cats say Planet Earth and Nemesis are saved. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Nemesis is saved too?
Yeah. In what capacity is Nemesis saved?
Well, I guess Nemesis is now free from the influence of Wise Man, except that everybody who lived there is dead now.
Right. This is what I'm saying. From what I understood, now, except
from what I understand, Nemesis, the Black Moon, population 6.
Except that we did see that one episode where we saw like hundreds of spaceships.
I had no idea.
You don't remember?
But like Crystal Tokyo isn't saved, is it?
Okay, well we'll talk about that in a minute. I have a bunch to talk about that.
And so I think they just purified the malefic black crystal, right?
But it disappeared, didn't it?
It probably turned into like Maxfield Stanton dust.
redemption dust.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
So, okay. So, anyway, Rini's like, all right, I got to go home. Thanks for teaching me math books. Thanks for teaching me cooking, girl who cooks.
Cookbook. That's their ship name. That's their ship name. Cookbook. Their ship name is Cookbook.
I can't believe it's taken this long.
Wow, that's pretty good.
But I'm happy for you. I'm very happy for you.
Oh, I'm so happy right now.
That's pretty good.
Okay. So yeah, she says that, and then the thing I wrote down here was Minako has zero chill because
She said,
Minako just leans over and goes, "Hey, don't wet your bed anymore."
you know I won't. Yes, ridiculous. So, yeah, she's not even mad about that, which is weird. And then she's like, okay, goodbye, Mom and Dad. I'll miss you, except I'm gonna see. I don't understand.
Well, first off, she's not mad at Minako because
I know.
she's worthy of being small lady now. She's composed and graceful. She's grown. She's grown a whole lot, Jordan.
So she's like, I'm not a baby. I don't wet the bed anymore. That was like a week ago.
Yep, that's right. She's mature now, okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm glad that if we ever see Chibiusa again, and I know we won't because she's going back to the future, but so we'll never ever see her again. But I'm glad that if we ever see her again, she will be like completely different and mature and like not annoying at all.
Yep. All those things.
So she teleports to the future. By the way, the teleport once again doesn't do the same thing it did either of the other two times, but that's fine.
Nope. Definitely doesn't have to walk down a windy hallway.
And no, everything becomes anti-gravity, none of that. Now, here's what I want to talk about. She shows up in the future, and everything is glorious and awesome. Now, my question is this. There are two possibilities. The first one I hate, and the second one I'm like, what? The first one that I hate is that they're trying to say, it's a time travel story. Therefore, if you fix things in the past, everything's okay in the future. No! That is not how it works. Because these were bad guys from the future. If anything, the attack should have just stopped, but the place should still be in rubble. And the second possibility is they're teleporting her back to the future a year later when they've rebuilt everything and everything is nice. And they were just like, let's take a break from Chibi. Let's just leave her there for a little while we rebuild. Is that cool with everybody?
No, Jordan, there is a third possibility.
What's the third possibility?
The third possibility is that it's Marvel Comics time travel, Jordan. You know how Marvel Comics time travel works.
This is just another universe?
Yeah, that when you go back in time, you always create a splinter universe. So this is now the future of the present of Sailor Moon.
Okay, let me say that
and that there's somewhere still like a fucked up Crystal Tokyo on Earth 93-12-1 or whatever it is.
Just to clarify, that was the Marvel Comics time travel policy in the past. That policy is no longer in place.
Well, if it was the policy in the past, then we're just in a splinter timeline where there's no longer the policy anymore.
That's no longer the policy because it's sloppy. That's not why. The real reason is because
I didn't make it up, Jordan.
No, I know. Listen, Mark Grunwald made it up, and he made up a lot of great things. But I don't like that time travel philosophy because, like you said,
Bro,
it just
you're the one in Marvel editorial.
And it's no longer the policy. Bam.
What's the current policy, just in case it ever comes up?
The current policy is the writers do whatever they want for the best of the story. Sorry.
I mean, look, that does explain a lot of what we've been able to get away with in X-Men 92.
So she runs up a grassy hill covered in flowers. Crystal Tokyo is fully restored and beautiful. The sun is shining. King Mamoru is wearing his purple suit. All the scouts are together. She runs up and they hug. I'm going to guess they hug.
They hug.
End.
Yes, they hug.
First she curtsies. She curtsies.
Yes, she does. Mm-hmm.
She's mature now, like you said.
And then she hugs her mom.
And that's it.
That's it.
End.
That's
the end of R.
Episode over. No more R.
No more R.
Nothing to talk about with R ever again.
Well, there's one more thing to talk about. What we learned from R.
That's right. It's time for Sailor Moon Says. Jordan, do you have the Sailor Moon Says for this episode?
I sure do.
Love charms, crystals, and horoscopes can be a lot of fun, but don't take them too seriously.
You said it. I count on myself to set my own destiny, not some goofy charm. Right. You're the one who makes it happen.
It's your life to do with what you want.
Set your goals and go for them.
Right. A charm or crystal isn't going to get your homework done. You are.
Still, if this love potion can get Darian back, I'll drink 100 of them.
Serena, I don't believe you. Come on, give us a break.
That's Serena.
Unfucking believable.
What's your problem, Chris? That is, of course, ultimate and best moral of Sailor Moon, that crystals and charms are fake.
That crystals are fake, and that destiny doesn't exist.
Yes. Crystal Tokyo, a bunch of bullshit. Your destiny is what you make of it. Let your child from the future fucking die and rot. Who cares? It doesn't matter.
Ooh, now I'm angry. Now I'm angry.
So good. Oh, so good.
Okay. So now it's time to talk about what we learned from this episode. Kat, we'll start with you. What did you learn?
I learned so much from this one. This is one of the things that helped me as a young person who messed up a lot. Realize that, hey, everyone messes up. That it's not helpful to think of people as binary good and bad. And that there's always time to say, hey, I'm going to start down a road for improvement. Now, that Chibi Moon was really one of the people who helped me do that. Because a lot of other villains, like villainous characters. Oh, man, Jordan, muffle your ears for a second. Because you haven't watched this show.
No, Chris hasn't watched the show.
No,
a different show.
A different show. Just for 2 seconds, and then you can undo it. Like Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Really?
Go through a redemption arc, and it's beautiful, and it makes a lot of sense. And they resonated with me, but I had a lot of problem letting the guilt go from having done bad things. But Chibi Moon and Black Lady and the redemption arc, all of this stuff helped me apportion out all of that and work through the guilt and still keep the personhood of being like, no, it doesn't make sense to do this to yourself. You just have to push forward and keep doing good and figuring out who you are and take responsibility for your actions. So do that. Do the good work and own up to the things that you do. That's what I learned, and that's what Sailor Moon says.
Hey, Kat.
Yeah?
That was very beautiful and very touching, and I want to thank you for making it really hard for me and Jordan to do our jokey jokes now that we do.
You're welcome. Finger guns.
I'm fine with it.
Jordan,
I learned
really important and personal life lesson did you learn?
I actually did learn a really important and personal life lesson, which is that if you try something and it doesn't work, just keep trying it over and over again, because it will work eventually for no reason.
I mean, look, that actually is true.
No, it is not true.
Yeah, it kind of is, dude.
Just keep doing the same thing over again. Eventually it'll work. That's a true lesson.
Yeah, pretty much. So.
Jesus. All right, fine.
I learned that I have no idea what I learned. yours was so moving, Kat, and yours was so grumpy, Jordan, that I have no idea. I guess I learned that that sometimes you just need to tell somebody that they did not actually fall down a well when they were 5. And everything will clear itself right up.
Just get up yourself.
So now it's time for final thoughts on the episode, and we've talked a lot about this one. And Kat, you've really put an episode that I already liked into a new light in a lot of respects, and that's why we do the show, and that's why we have so many different people on the show to come talk to us about what this stuff means to them. And you did a fantastic job. But if you have any more thoughts on this episode, on Sailor Moon R in general, on Chibiusa, please.
I'm sure I do. What is it? I don't know. You guys talk.
Well, yeah, like I said, I like this episode. And one of the things that I said at the beginning of the show was that this is a great episode if you like Sailor Moon. And by that, I mean that you have to accept Sailor Moon for everything that it is. You have to accept the time travel stuff. You have to accept the miracle romance stuff. You have to accept every part of it. You know, the silver crystal and the black moon and all that. every part of it kind of exists in this episode and is done really well, I think. You even kind of have to accept that sometimes they're just going to do things over and over again, and eventually it's going to work. And if you do that, and you like that, and I think, like, even though we've griped about R a lot, not unfairly, I don't think, either, by the way, I think that this episode is going to really work for you. And there's a lot of really, really cool stuff in this episode. It's not flawless. Like I said, I do wish that the other Sailor Scouts had a thing to do. That would have been nice. And I think Wiseman / Death Phantom ultimately goes out as kind of a chump villain. You know, like his big accomplishment is lying to a 5-year-old. That's what he does.
Yeah.
And is ultimately brought down by, you know, a 5-year-old and her mom. Don't talk to me or my daughter again, is the moral of this episode. That should have been what I learned. But I do think that if you like Sailor Moon, I think you'll like this episode. I think this would also be like a terrible episode to show someone as their first one.
Awful.
Because even though it's kind of got everything you want out of Sailor Moon, it's all like heightened as much as it can be here. So you don't have the baseline to kind of appreciate everything. But overall, like, R really kind of ends well. Because there's definitely not another episode of R after this one. Jordan, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't love it as much as you did. It was okay. Like, it was fine. I mean, heck, over the course of this discussion, you guys have made me question whether I like Sailor Moon at all, I guess. So there you go.
Wow.
I'm joking, mostly.
Well, maybe you can fill that hole in your heart with Avatar The Last Airbender or Steven Universe.
No, I still love Sailor Moon.
That's what I learned. I learned that Jordan needs to watch some TV.
Yeah, that's my big problem.
Instead of watching Atlas. Like, you've seen all 3 Atlas Shrugged movies.
2 of them
you
twice.
haven't seen season 3 of Avatar The Last Airbender. That's fine. That's a way somebody should be living their life.
Season 3 of Avatar is way longer than those Atlas Shrugged movies.
Yeah, it's also proportionally better.
It's very good.
That's what everybody says.
Sometimes people aren't lying to you.
I don't think people are lying to me. I just wasn't that into it. I was just like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm rewatching it right now with my husband because he's never seen it, and the first season's not great. It's rough,
yeah.
but
But I'm surprised that if you made it to season 2, you didn't continue.
I don't know if I did. I don't know when I stopped. Like, I mean, I'd have to look on a thing.
Just watch it. Just watch it, Jordan, for my sake.
Let me see. I watched season 1 ends with The Siege of the North. Does that sound familiar? Not
It's
really.
the one where they siege the North.
Yeah, that doesn't really sound familiar.
Like, they lay siege to the North in that one.
I'm guessing that is the case.
Like, there's a stronghold in the North that they do a prolonged attack to.
Oh, Dave Filoni worked on season 1. He's cool.
Oh my god. Kat, do you have any thoughts?
I think I got through most of it. I think you guys have a hint of what I love about Chibi Moon. The other things that I love about her really come down to what I think people like about Robin. For me, she's the person that, even though I was around the age of the Sailor Scouts, I didn't see myself in them. They were too tall and pretty, you know, like they weren't attainable. But Chibi Moon was like the small one that I could be, and then I could hang out with them. And she was a really cool character to have around. And then the surprising, I wasn't expecting the growth of the character, and did they back end it. It was really all on these last episodes, and R didn't do a great job in retrospect, but the story's pretty cool. So maybe if we ever see the character again, they'll make good on the good work they've done, and you guys will grow to love her.
That was something that I wanted to ask. Not whether Chibiusa shows up again, but does Black Lady show up again ever?
I don't think so.
No. Yeah. No, she's gone.
Oh, okay. Bummer.
Like 13 years later.
Well, the reason I ask is because, again, we talked about how great Black Lady's design is, and I felt like it would be really, really cool to see that design again as a heroine. as someone who wasn't necessarily evil, if only to kind of get away from the idea that, you know, sexy is evil in all ways.
Well, we get to see her. I mean, in the comics and everything, we get to see her aged up several times through zany stuff. I think you have the short stories, yeah?
Yes.
Isn't there a short story where she and Usagi get age swapped?
Well, I guess we will find out.
No, we talked about that on our bonus episode.
Oh, we did.
I think it might be in the anime as well.
Oh, is that, man? If so, I do not remember it. But I think that, like, we get to see stuff with her. Just we don't get to see, like, Black Lady's gone. She's poofed. Alas, that amazing dress.
Yeah.
All right, so that does it for this episode of Sailor Business. Kat, before we let you go, if anyone wants to find you online, and I am going to guess that they do because you have, as always, been an absolutely wonderful guest, and you are a pleasure to talk to about Sailor